Hello and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for the Native American Heritage Month celebrations. My name is Lena Ferizi. I am the Student Services Specialist Senior in the Student Leadership Center. It is my honor to welcome today Violet Duncan. Violet is Plains Cree and Taino from Kihiwin, I think is how you pronounce it. And please excuse my lack of well pronunciation of your tribe, Cree Nation, touring nationally and internationally since 1991. She has performed from audiences across the United States, Canada, and Europe through work as a Native American dancer, hoop dancer, choreographer, storyteller, and author. Violet is a former Miss Indian World representing all Indigenous people of North America. In 2019, Violet collaborated with the Mesa Art Center on the public art installation, Water Equals Life. This project was created to discover, explore, and celebrate the history and future of water in the valley. Since 2014, Violet has worked as the artistic director for the children's space at the Hurt Museum Guild Indian Market. After becoming a mother of four and seeing the need for Native representation in literature, she took it upon herself to author 3 award-winning children's books, I Am Native, When We Dance, and Let's Hoop Dance. Her newest book, I Am Native, released in 2020, shares a glimpse into the wonderful world of multi-generational Native family. This book showcases beautiful imagery of family members passing down traditions in both traditional and modern ways. She has recently joined the family of Random House with 2 new children's books coming out in 2022 and 2023. Violet is currently the Indigenous Cultural Advisor for the Tempe Center for the Arts, where she aims to create space for a permanent program of Indigenous performance and practice. I will include her bio, her website link on the chat so you can learn more about her after the presentation. So in the meantime, welcome Violet.
Thank you. Hi so much, Lena. Danse nitsigasun gayak isquem. Kihun Creation o Tinia, Napuemio Kisagao Namitotak, Napuemio Kisagao Nagamukti. Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure for me to be here sharing traditional stories. I'm going to share with you some stories from all across Turtle Island. So some of those stories are going to originate in my homelands of Cree country, which is now modern times Northern Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. And the reason why the Cree tribe are all across Canada is because we were a nomadic people, which means that we moved from camp to camp following the buffalo herd, and we would have teepees. A lot of times people think that all Native people live in teepees, but we don't. Definitely the Cree people did, because the teepee goes up just like a tent. It can go really, really quickly and come down. And that's because you never know where the herd of the buffalo is going to be traveling. So all across Canada, the nomadic tribes of the Cree people were traveling. And then colonization happened and they were stuck right where they had last landed their summer camp or their winter camp. And the Kihewin Cree Nation landed in northern or rural Alberta, and that's where my community is right now. My childhood did comprise of moving. So I said that we always stayed true to our roots of Cree people, that I lived in Alberta, I lived in Ontario, I lived in British Columbia, and now I live here in Arizona. And it's been such a joy to be here. I think I've been here 14 or 15 years, and there is nothing like the valley. My husband is San Carlos Apache, and he definitely has opened my eyes into how people have survived and thrived here for thousands of years. Because when I see the desert, I see like it looks like life is impossible. And then I hear about the beautiful farming techniques that were created by the Yakima and Tana Atum. When I hear about the great river that was here a long time ago, making this an incredible trading route. Here we have artifacts all the way from the Pacific Ocean. We have artifacts that come up from way south and central Mexico. So right here in the valley has always been an incredible trading route. And when you would see how it looked pre-contact, definitely you could see how a community, how a people survived and thrived. So I'm very thankful for the Zuni and the Yakima Atam, Tana Atam nation for creating the canals and having the beautiful valley here kind of live, because without their skillful farm work and the creating of the canals, we wouldn't have the power as we know it. So it's just amazing being here and learning about all of the stories and the people. If you are interested in storytelling, I come from a family of storytellers. Both my parents were storytellers, my grandparents were storytellers. There was never an official title of storyteller. There wasn't somebody that was like, you are the storyteller, you stay put. Everyone in the community was a storyteller. There was an important time when we would need the cooks to tell the stories of how food was created. There was a time for our hunters to go out and talk about the hunt that they went on. They would tell the story. Sometimes their stories would be sung through song. We talk about Indigenous storytelling, that it's not like mainstream storytelling. There is not a beginning, a middle, and an end to that story. It does not carry the 5 Ps of a person, a place, a problem. It talks about what lesson needs to be told at what time. And so if we're telling our children the lesson to be respectful of our elders, we would talk about the giants, because giants are symbolized as elders in our stories. And we talk about how maybe somebody was being naughty or not listening to a giant, and what happened to that person. And in that lesson, the child would know, okay, this is what happened to so-and-so in this story when he was disrespectful to a giant. Now I know not to do that, or maybe it's to listen or to be kind. When you look at Indigenous storytelling, think of it more as an element, as moving and changing. I love the symbol of a tree. It starts with a tiny seed, and we have the roots and the trunk and the branches and the leaves. And sometimes the story will start just there of a branch, right to the leaf. And sometimes it will start from the seed. Traditionally, our stories would go on for days, days and days and days, not consecutively. You wouldn't binge a storytelling session. It would be throughout the day, but it would definitely be one story that would take up to sometimes 6 and 7 days long. And now we need to kind of create those stories into smaller bite-sized pieces so we can understand them. And that's why we do Indigenous storytelling as though it was a tree branch. So let me give you an example of a modern day story. So if we were to look at Cinderella, we all know the beginning right to the end of marrying Prince Charming. But sometimes our stories would begin, maybe we would hear about her youth up until she befriended the small animals, the mouse and we would learn just in that section of the story, just to even how small you are, you can always be helpful. You can always be brave. Or maybe we hear the end of it. So we learn from these bite-sized pieces, these smaller pieces within Indigenous storytelling. And that's why it's really unique, because a story could pick up and end anywhere in the story, as long as you're staying true to the lesson. You can even bring modern characters into them. And so that's what I'm going to share with you here today. If you'd like any more information on becoming an expert storyteller, I offer a free webinar on my website. It's 20 minutes long, and you just got to sign up and it's ready to watch. I use the acronym EXPERT, starting with E, experience, having the stories that you already have, that you already contain, what was passed down from you, either what you've learned along the way or traditional stories. X is experience, and that brings in what you've learned personally, how you weave those into your story. P, a problem solver. What problem are you solving by telling this story? The next E is execution. So it's creating your storytelling voice. And sometimes it could not be voice, how we're talking, maybe it's your writing voice and honing that authentic voice. R is relevant. How are you staying relevant in current times to make sure the story kind of stays true, that it could be told time and time again, maintaining that. And then T, how you can take action. So I hope you check out the EXPERT acronym. It's called Storytelling as a Tool for Change. I'd like to begin my very first story this afternoon at the very beginning. We're going to fly all the way over to Mohawk territory, and we're going to learn about the creation story of how Turtle Island came to be. It was told that a long time ago, all of the world was covered in water. Only the water animals were here. High above lived the sky people, and they were living life beautifully and all in peace. Sky Woman was up there, and she was pregnant with her first baby. She was glowing and proud, and every day she wanted to make sure she gave as much love as she could to the baby that was developing in her tummy. But if you know a pregnant woman, you'll find that she's always looking for food. She was out looking for roots. I think I want to eat the roots from the tree of life. All of her relatives had gone out to go farm and to go pick and harvest before the winters come. Sky Woman went to the great tree of life, and she started to dig down below it. As she dug deeper and deeper to find the most sweetest roots, because those are the ones that are most deepest, she found a blue sparkling gem. What is this? She wondered. It's so beautiful. She dug deeper and deeper down into the hole, and as she dug deeper, the gem grew bigger, and she started to pull back all of the soil. Soon the weight of her belly flipped her over into the hole, and she fell through what she thought was a gem, but was a great hole into our world. Falling down, she cried out for her relatives. Help me, she would yell. The geese were flying by. Honk, honk. Do you see that? Honk, honk. I think that is one of the sky people. We must help her. It looks like she cannot swim. Honk, honk. Or fly. Honk, honk. All of the geese came together and tried to make a landing pad for Sky Woman, but she was much too heavy. Sky Woman is too heavy. We need to drop her somewhere. Honk, honk. Don't just drop her anywhere. Here, we need to find somewhere to put her. There's nowhere. There's only land, the geese said. They were all worried and honking. Soon Great Turtle heard the sound and the commotion in the sky. Come here, my relatives. Put her here. Lay her across my back. Honk, honk, honk. All the geese came down and laid Sky Woman across the back of the turtle. Sky Woman held her growing belly and looked around. Then she started to cry. What is this place? I see only water. How will I provide for my child here? How will my baby survive? And as she sat down defeated, she cried on the back of the turtle. What do you need to survive, my granddaughter? Asked the turtle. I have here the roots from the tree of life. I only need a bit of dirt to help to grow them, and then I can grow the food for my child. Just then Beaver came swimming up. Sky Woman who fell from the sky, I can help you. I have seen earth way deep below. I will swim down and get the earth for you. Oh yes, and if he can't do it, I can do it, said Muskrat. And then Otter came over too. Oh yes, I can help too. I am a great swimmer. Beaver went down, held his breath and went swimming all the way to the bottom, but soon it was too far and he came up. It's so deep down there. No one will ever get it. I'm sorry, Sky Woman. If I can't do it, no one can. Otter pushed him aside. Oh, Beaver, I have the best lungs. My lungs are better than yours. I will help swim deeper for you, Sky Woman. I'll bring you the soil and the earth that you need. And then Otter went swimming as far as she could go, and she came back up. Oh, Beaver is right. It is way too deep for us. We won't be able to get any of the soil. We have to find another plan, they said. Muskrat came. I can help you, Sky Woman. I can help you get the earth from the bottom of the ocean. I can do that, and you can provide life for your child. I'm sorry, Muskrat. Otter can't do it, and all of the other water animals can do it. How can you? You are so small. Don't worry, said Muskrat. I can help you. He took the biggest breath and started to swim and swim and swim and swim. And finally, Muskrat could reach the very bottom. And in his little paws, he grabbed a little bit of soil. But he had gone too far. And on his way up, he lost his breath. His little body came floating to the top of the water. Oh, kind, brave Muskrat. He had passed on, said Sky Woman. She grabbed his lifeless body and opened up his little paw. And there he had still grasped the little bit of soil. Many songs and dances are done in celebration of Muskrat for being able to do something so brave for so small of a human being, or for so small of a being. It was told that we continue to tell the stories of praise of Muskrat. Until then, Sky Woman grabbed a bit of soil and the roots from the tree of life, and she began to put them on top of Turtle's back. And as she sang the song and danced the dance, the roots started to grow down, and up came the beautiful grass. Way-yo, 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 yeah, yeah, way-yo, way-yo, way-yo. The beautiful grass and flowers all started to grow around them. The water animals came and started to touch the soft grass that was growing. The story continues to go from there. I'm going to shorten it a little bit. It was told that Sky Woman then birthed her first woman of Turtle Island, and she was still half spirit in this land. She then fell in love with the charming west wind. His energy was delightful. Together they fell in love and walked side by side in life together, and she became pregnant with the twins. When she was pregnant with the twins, she wished all the wonderful things from them, as they would become two styles of beings and help create the world for what we see today. As she had the first twin, the right-handed twin, she gave birth in the most beautiful and natural way. The right-handed twin came out strong and ready to create the most beautiful things. But the left-handed twin was born out of the side of first woman and killed her after his birth. Saddened that it was firstborn that was able to meet her, and that the left-handed twin was never to meet her, he wanted to make the world a challenging place. Here we get confused with good and bad, evil and good. We do not look at things in this way. We look at things as a beautiful and as a challenging. The right-handed twin had created the beautiful rose. The left-handed twin created the thorns to protect that rose. The right-handed twin made beautiful, straight, clear waters. The left-handed twin switched them and turned them so they went side by side, rushing in some places, slowing down in others. It was from the duality of the twins that the human beings came to know the challenging ways and the loving ways, and that we must continue walking this world, walking our path in both beauty and with challenge. And this is the story of Sky Woman and how the beginning of Turtle Island was created. I welcome you to ask any questions that you have right now after any of our stories. And again, this story was from the Mohawk Nation. Mohawk Nation is in New York State, Ontario. You could even find a couple of Mohawk Nations in Nova Scotia. So feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat box there, and I can do my best to answer them. And no worries if there's no questions at this time, we can keep going. And then I'm going to share with you the next story here. So I'd like to share with you a trickster story. Now, does anyone know who Trickster is? Have you ever heard of Trickster? Have you ever heard of Bugs Bunny or Wile E. Coyote? These are our modern day tricksters. They remind us of what not to do. You'll see Bugs Bunny will put down his ears and change out the poster and make it into duck hunting season. And sometimes he'll even dress in human being clothes and walk around and go into restaurants and act like a human being. Or Wile E. Coyote, he'll go flying off of a canyon and splat on the bottom. But he won't die. He'll just turn into a pancake and kind of skitter off. Or he'll get crushed between two canyons and walk away like an accordion. That was just like our tricksters. There's many different tricksters all across Indian country. My very favorite was the rabbit from my area. We usually don't say his name until the snow fell. So I'm waiting for up north, Sedona area, to see if the snow is going to fall yet. And then I feel like it's safe to tell these stories. Otherwise, I'll bring the winter too early. Other stories of coyote are from all over. So you'll hear trickster stories from every nation. There's a trickster, whether it be Spider Woman, coyote, rabbit. All of them are a powerful teaching tool on what not to do. And what better way to learn a lesson than to know why you shouldn't be doing it? So there was a time when there was no trickster. There was a time when there was no human beings. All the beings on this world looked exactly the same. Creator came down and said, "My relatives, it is time for you to receive your gift. I want you to make the straightest arrow with a sharp arrowhead on it, the most beautiful bow. And as you make this bow and arrow, and how you create it and how you design it will determine what your gift will be." All of the beings were so excited that they all ran back to their homes. "Oh, this is going to be wonderful," they said. "Oh, this is great." Trickster too went back to his home. He thought, "I'm gonna get the best gift. I need to get like the most good looking. No. The strongest one in the world. No. The bravest being ever. Oh, I'm going to get the best gift because my bow and arrow is going to be the best," he said. He went home and he made the straightest arrow he's ever made. He made a sharp arrowhead at the end. He even put the beautiful quills at the end with all the feathers. He made a beautiful sinew bow and arrow, pulled it back. He started to carve and etch into it and then paint it the most beautiful colors and designs. "Look at this," he said. "I am so good. I'm going to get the best gift ever." And then he sat back and admired his work. And then he thought, you know what? The only way I'm going to get the best gift is if I'm picked first, because first person picked always gets the best gift. So he snuck up to the top of the hill when everybody was home, and he put his bow and arrow there at the top. "There, this way I will get the best gift. My bow and arrow will get picked first, and I will be there to get my gift." He went back home to have a good night's rest. And just as he was tucking into bed, he remembered, "Oh no, what if I sleep in? What if I'm not there to receive my gift?" What would you do in this situation? He might have done that. He was thinking, "I'm going to stay awake all night long. Right when the sun comes up, I'll go to my bow and arrow, and then I will get the best gift," he thought. That's a good idea. I'm so smart. He started to make dinner and he was very pleased with himself. He started to tidy up, all those things that we do to try and keep ourselves from going to sleep. And then he had a little snack and he had a ball and he was throwing it off the side of the wall. "Oh, I'm getting tired." No, stay awake," he said. "I gotta stay awake." He looked around. But soon his little comfy chair started to feel a little bit more comfortable and he sat back and closed his eyes. "No, wake up, stay awake. You gotta get the best gift," he said. Just then he looked down and he saw two small sticks on the ground. So he put them into his eyes like that. "There we go," he said. "Now my eyes will stay awake and I'll get the best gift." He sat back with his eyes wide open and relaxed. But soon his eyes started to get so heavy that they went snap and they shut, and those sticks locked him into place. He fell asleep immediately. Just then, the sun came up. All of the animals went to the top of the hill to receive their gift. "Ah, this is beautiful." Creator gave the gift of far-sighted to that of eagle, gave the gift of strength and medicine to bear, gave the gift to be able to be agile and to bound out of sight to deer. All the animals were receiving their gift. Each bird was giving their own song. And when all the gifts were given, there was still one set of bow and arrow up there at the hill. "Whose is this?" asked Creator. "Who did not receive a gift yet?" All of the animals looked at themselves, all in their beautiful new shapes and colors and voices. I don't know whose that is, they looked around. Who is missing? I can't tell who anybody is anymore. Wait a minute, said Rabbit. I hear something. And she put her ear up. I hear it there. It's coming from Trickster's lodge. They all went running down the hill. Hurry, go fast. Hey, Trickster, can you hear us in there? Come out here. Come and receive your gift. Trickster was still sleeping. Go away. Get out of here, he said. You're just trying to trick me. It's still dark in here. Namoya, Trickster, Kisagao. The sun is in high noon. You missed all the gifts. Go away. I don't believe you, said Trickster. Just then Little Mouse went running under the door and scampered up his body. There's sticks in your eyes. He took out those sticks out of his eyes. Can you see now? Wake up, Trickster. It's high noon. Kisagao. Trickster blinked and it was so bright. It was true. The sun was up. All his relatives got their gifts already. Oh, moya, he said. Now I don't get anything. I get no gift and I'm going to look like this forever. He started to walk sadly to the hill. He started to drag his feet and he thought, I'm probably going to get in trouble too. And as he went to the top of the hill, you know what happens when you're expecting to get in trouble? You start to take the long way around. And so he started to go up the side of the hill and slowly spiraled to the top until he was finally there and the sun was setting. He saw his bow and arrow left there at the top of the hill. He looked around and no one was there. So he grabbed his bow and arrow and started walking back slowly, really pitiful. Relative, come back here, said Creator. I have a gift for you. Oh, yeah, I was just getting my bow and arrow. I know all the gifts were given. I understand. You can still receive a gift there. Aston, my relative, come here and let me see your gift. Let me see your bow and arrow so I can see what kind of gift you want. Oh, okay. Here, they showed him his bow and arrow. I don't mind having the best good-looking gift. Oh, no. I don't mind having the strongest gift, be the strongest one than everyone. No. I want to have like bravery, but not too brave, like have really good smarts. Okay, said Creator. I have just the gift for you. Trickster puffed up his chest. He was so proud. He's probably going to get most good-looking gift because maybe not, because he was already pretty good-looking. He stood there proud and Creator said, Trickster, you will receive the gift of cunning. Is that like really good-looking gift? No, Trickster. You will have the ability to outsmart your enemies. Oh, like a really good smart gift. That's it. And you will get another special gift for the human beings. Oh, now this is the good-looking gift, he thought. You will have the gift of storytelling. And through your stories and how you interact with them will be your gift for the human beings for all of time. For all of time, he thought. Okay, I like that gift. And it was until that day and forever on that Trickster is still out there showing us what not to do through his actions, through his story and his gift of cunning. And this is the story of how Trickster received his gift, or how Trickster became Trickster. This story comes from the Cree Nation. That's the nation that I am from. And it's one of my favorites because when my dad tells this story, I always envision Trickster kind of looking like my dad. He's like this 6 foot tall guy with like braids. And he just has this really funny personality, not personality, but funny humor, where even in the most silly situations, he'll always make you laugh. And I feel like he's always doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, yet sometimes we need to laugh through grief, through when we're scared, when we're anxious, and anytime that we're in a new place, I can always be at ease with my dad and his ability to just make me and my siblings and now me and my relatives laugh. And so I always thought my dad is Trickster, so that must be how Trickster looks. I'd like to share the next story with you. This is a short one that actually comes from down south here from the Pima Nation. It's the stories that comes from the trees and from the bird people. It begins a long time ago. Wait, let me just check how much time we have. Oh yeah, we're doing good. Okay, it begins a long time ago. The bird people were preparing to travel south for the winter time. And as they were all getting ready, the grandfather bird was letting everyone know where they should be. Put that stick there. Make sure you clean your nest. We all need to travel south. So it is getting colder up here. The winds are changing. The snow will fall soon. Listen, my relatives, make sure all the nests are clear. Everyone is ready to fly. Telling everybody what to do, where to go, and everyone was prepared to travel south for the winter. All of his relatives were listening and preparing. Tomorrow morning, at first light, we will all travel south together as a family, as a community, he said. Just as he was directing everyone, his wing got caught on a branch, and he pulled it really hard, and it was stuck right between. And he pulled so hard that it took out many of his wings. Grandfather, grandfather, his grandchildren came over. Is your wing okay? Look at all these feathers everywhere. Do you think you could fly tomorrow? Oh no, said grandfather. His main wing that he helped me to stabilize him had come out. Oh no, I will not be able to fly with you, my grandchildren. Don't worry though, everyone will still travel. In 2 weeks' time, my feathers will be back and I'll be able to join you again. I just need some time to heal. Grandfather, where will you heal? We will all be gone. Don't worry, said grandfather. We are all related here. Someone will come and take care of me. Just then, we all went to sleep. And at first light in the morning, he started to wave all of the community members off. Goodbye, my relatives. I will join you shortly. Stay together. Be safe, he said. Letting them know all of the details of the flight plan. All the animals were excited. All the birds were excited. Finally, they would be able to travel south. Some of them, this was their very first journey to the southern direction. They were ready to go, and when the last bird was out of sight, grandfather went to the beautiful maple tree. Maple tree, with your beautiful branches and your broad leaves, will you help keep me warm and provide food for me, just for a short while I heal? No, she said. I am tired of hearing your songs all summer and spring long. You need to leave. I want it to be quiet. Oh, said Grandfather Bird. I understand. He then traveled to the next tree. Mighty oak tree, look at your beautiful strong branches and your broad leaves. Will you help take care of me and provide shelter and give me something to eat just for a short while my wing heals so I can join my family? No, he said. I am tired of all of your nests going into all of my branches. I wish to be alone for the next season. Find somewhere else to be. Grandfather Bird was surprised. He then went walking, and from tree to tree, they all denied him. Finally, it was Pine Tree that spoke up. Come here, my relative. Come here. I know that my needles are sharp and my sap can get sticky, but we are all related. We must take care of each other. Come here and I will keep you warm, and I can provide you food if you need it. Hi, hi, relative, mighty Pine Tree, for your generosity and kindness. He then traveled up Pine Tree, and he was there waiting and was healing. Pine Tree gave him much protection as the cold winds started to blow in and the snow started to fall from the sky. And just a short amount of weeks later, his wing was good as new. I am ready to fly again, my brother, said the bird. I'm ready to fly south to be with my relatives. Please, let me know if anything that you need from us. The Bird Nation thanks you. It is nothing. We are all related, said Pine Tree. We all take care of each other. Journey well, my relative. Grandfather Bird had flown off. He was there meeting his relatives. Pine Tree was feeling so good, but it was just then that Creator had appeared. Well done, my relative. I appreciate what you have done for the Bird Nation, and they will always be thankful for your work. Shame on you, all of you other trees that were out there. Maple tree, oak tree, all you trees that could provide health and shade, protection to your relative. You must learn a lesson. And your lesson will be that when the cold winds come in, before the snow falls, you will all lose your leaves for the entirety of the winter time. When the birds return from the south, you will receive your leaves again, and they will come back to find comfort and safety within your tree branches. And it is until that day that all of the trees lose their leaves in the fall season, all except for pine tree, who will remain evergreen. And this is the story of the evergreen pine tree. Thank you so much. Any questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. This story I learned from my father-in-law, who then learned it from a Pima relative from right here in Salt River. As we pass down the stories, this is how we pass them down, by sharing. We don't actually have them. A lot of times our stories aren't written in books. It's really wonderful when they are. When I was in college, I felt a huge need to get all of my elders' stories written in books. I was confused that all of the language, all of the stories need to be written down or they're going to be lost. That was the pressure that was put on me as a college student. And when I would return home, I would put down my tape recorder and I would put down protocol to hear the traditional stories from my grandmother. And I would say, okay, tell me all the stories you know. And she wouldn't tell me one. And that's because you don't get to hear the stories when you want them. You get to hear the stories when you need them. And so sometimes the stories would come when we were picking berries. Sometimes the stories would come when we were picking sweetgrass. Sometimes it would come in the middle of an argument. You know, one time Bear did this too, and do you want to know what happened to Bear? And you get a really good story, but usually that story is a teaching tool. It's a lesson on why this argument should not be happening had we learned from Bear. I love hearing the different stories from my relatives because you never know when you're gonna, when a story comes back to you. It's meant to be shared. We talk about it in our Native communities that it's not meant to be taken. All of our culture, dances, arts, stories, they're not meant to be hoarded. They're meant to be shared, because when a story comes back to you, you need to tell it to somebody. Somebody needs to hear that story. And when you're listening to a story, it's important to listen twice. We have 2 ears. To speak once, to really focus in on the questions that are most important. And that is the only time that you speak. At all times, not just during storytelling time. That usually the questions are answered if you were just listening to the lesson, to the teaching, 2 times through, and then speaking only that one time, that most important question that you felt. Thank you so much, Thomas. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. As we pass down the knowledge, and I went back to school defeated that I couldn't get any of the recordings of our stories, of our languages. It wasn't until I was well into adulthood when I stopped the frantic search to get our stories recorded. And it was my grandmother said, do you really think these stories would disappear after we've been telling them for thousands of years? And that resonated with me. They weren't written before. We do have pictographs and petroglyphs, and we do have some of the language that is down and written on our regalia, on the beadwork that we carry, and on the outfits that we have. There are stories that are written that we can see, but many of these stories, even colonization, even after huge events where whole communities were wiped out, there was a storyteller that went with a runner. A runner is usually a young man or a young woman that would run messages from community to community. And sometimes they would also be tasked with the story. We would tell them the story. It's like a mass email. We would tell them and they would have to collect all of the stories in their mind, all of the lessons, and they would have to understand the story to share it properly. They would then run the message to the next community, and the next runner of that community would listen intently to the stories, and they too had to run it to the next community. Sometimes it would be stories of a hunt, of war, of creation, of animals. And this is how we would pass stories back. Now we're using Zoom, which is really neat because I don't have to do any running. I can just sit still. But I'm really, really thankful for technology and for the ability that it has for us to be able to share information and stories. And my frantic need to try and record every single piece has kind of dissipated. And I realize now that the stories that continue to be handed down are just such prizes. They're diamonds in the rough that we must continue passing down our precious gems to the next generation because they're just so priceless and they don't cost anything as well. So they're the most expensive and the least expensive, and they're just so powerful. And I definitely, these are the stories that I share with my children at nighttime. And it's so neat when I hear them share it back with me, because that's how it's meant to be told, back and forth. And sometimes they'll miss out entire pieces and I'll be like, I wonder why they just left that piece out. And sometimes a storyteller, it doesn't resonate with them. So when you're listening to the stories, you don't have to feel like you need to know everything, the whole story, the beginning, the middle, the ending. I remember she started like this. It's what you're taking in your heart today. Whatever you feel the story is in your heart is how you're meant to understand the story. And it will definitely not be like how I told it or how you heard it. It'll be how your heart understood it. And so I welcome you to share these stories and these lessons as you know it. Some of them will be powerful, resonating lessons, like I needed to hear that today. And some of them will be just stories that made a fun afternoon. All right. So I'm going to share with you my very last story. This is my favorite story. It's that story where I would tell my parents, tell me it again, because it's just had so much woven into it. Definitely, I got to college, I was in my 4th year, and I had an epiphany that the lesson that I thought it was my whole life, the real lesson was something completely different. And I called home and it was like, in that moment, I was like, Mom, did you know that this story is really about this? And she's like, how many times have you heard that story? You're just now getting it. So if the lesson doesn't resonate right now today, it's totally fine. It took me like, 12 years hearing this story every summer that I finally got the lesson. And so whatever you take, whether you get it right away or whether it comes later or not at all, it's just a good story. I hope that you take it home in your heart. And this is the story of how Trickster lost his eyeballs. Dayas, they say, a long time ago, Trickster was walking through the forest. Trickster was hungry. He was always looking for food. His stomach was talking to him. Find us some food, it said. He was looking around for food to just fall into his mouth when he heard a strange sound. He looked through the branches and there was a giant. That giant was standing on a hill and it was singing this song. His eyeballs popped out of his head, spun around, took off. And that giant started talking about all the many things he could see, the people of many different colors, birds and animals he'd never seen before. And then that giant sang that song again. His eyeballs popped back in his head. Ow, said Trickster. This is the best trick I've ever seen. He jumped out of the bush and he went running up the hill, started pulling on Giant's leg. Hey, look down here, relative. Look down here. You need to show me this trick. This is the best trick I've ever seen. I need to learn this trick. Giant looked down. Hello there, brother. How are you? It is a beautiful day. Thank you. I'm not talking about the day, brother. I'm talking about that song. You need to show me that. I need to do this trick. That's the best trick I've ever seen. Ah, you want to learn this trick to send your eyeballs. Well, first you need this magic drum and drumstick, and then you need to learn the song. Now, when I learned the song, oh, I already know the song, said Trickster. Let me see your magic drum and drumstick. I'll show you how I can do the trick. Said said Giant. And he handed down his magic drum and drumstick. Trickster reached for it and it shrunk down to his size. Yes! Now let me show you how it's done. His eyeballs popped out of his head, spun around, took off. Trickster started talking about all the many things he could see, the people of many different colors, birds and animals he'd never seen before. And then Trickster sang that song again. His eyeballs popped back in his head. Oh, I need to show all of my friends this trick. This is the best trick I've ever done, he said. And he started to look around to find friends to show his trick to. Okay, okay, brother. You can show your friends this trick, but remember one thing. You can only do this trick 4 times in one day, from sun up to sundown. If you do this trick more than 4 times for sure, you will lose your eyeballs. I'm listening. I got it. 4 times, one day, no problem. He started to run off to go show his friends his trick too, and as he was running down the hill, he darted into the bush again. Hey, Trickster, remember, you've already done it once today. Did you hear me? I heard you, Giant. You think I don't listen? 4 times, one day, I got it. And he started to run right off, and boom, he bumped into someone. She was tall with black fur and sharp claws. Rawr, she said. Ay, Masqua. You guys know who that is? That was Sister Bear. Hey, what are you doing here? You just scared away all the fish, she said. And she growled. Trickster looked around. Oh, brother, Sister Bear, don't eat me, don't eat me. I have a trick to show you. Well, better show me this trick quick, because these fish aren't coming back, and I have little cubs here that need to eat. Trickster looked around and saw the little cubs peering out from behind the bush. And it was true, he had scared all the fish, and they were in a wide arch all the way around them. I know. I can send my eyeballs so far out that I can help you find more fish to find, and you'll have full bellies by the end of the night. Said Bear. Show me this trick then. All right, this is the best trick you'll ever see. The best. His eyeballs popped out of his head, spun around, took off. He started telling Bear about all the fish that were out there. His eyeballs went flying from stream to river, river to ocean. He said he saw rainbow trout, regular trout, salmon, pickerel. His eyeballs went so far out into the ocean, he said he could even see Free Willy. He said he could see Free Willy 1, 2, and 3. And then he sang that song again. His eyeballs popped back in his head. Trickster, that's a good trick. You need to show everyone that trick. And Trickster said, yeah, I know. And he started to walk off feeling pretty good about his trick. And as he was looking around, he couldn't find any. And then he spotted her. Ow! Like totally, ow! You guys know who that one was? Sister Wolf. Hey, Sister Wolf, come over here. I have a trick to show you. Sister Wolf looked at Trickster. Trickster, like talk to the paw, because the jaw don't give a damn. Sister Wolf, come on. I got a best trick for you. You gotta see this trick. Oh, Trickster, if it'll get you out of my fur, then show me this trick already, she said. And Trickster showed her that trick. His eyeballs popped out of his head, spun around, took off. He started telling Sister Wolf about all the other wolves that were out there. The gray wolf and the black wolf and the yellow wolf, the stoic white wolf of the north. He even looked beyond and talked about all the different food that she could eat, like the rabbit and the squirrel. Sister Wolf was licking her lips and he sang that song again. The eyeballs popped back in his head. Like, oh, MG, Trickster, you need to show everyone that trick. And Trickster said, yeah, I know. And he started to walk off, feeling really good. You know, he really impressed Sister Wolf with that trick. And as he was walking off, he couldn't find anyone else to show his trick to. Oh, brother, Sister Birds, come down here. I have a trick to show you. I'm not gonna eat you. I will just come down here. Let me show you this trick. Oh, you can stay right there, but watch closely. This is the best trick you'll ever see. I bet you guys didn't know you could understand bird. Very complicated language. Hey, His eyeballs popped out of his head, spun around, took off. He told those birds about all the trees that were out there. The pine tree and the poplar tree, the saguaro cactus, all the trees that you can even build two nests instead of one. And then Trickster sang that song again. His eyeballs popped back in his head. Trickster, that's the best trick we've ever seen. But you know what? I bet you can see farther than Eagle. And Eagle was given the gift of farsight from the Creator. I can see farther than Eagle. I can see farther than anyone. Bring them on. You mean you want us to bring Eagle here to you? Yep, we're going to have a see-off. Bring him here and we'll see who was given the gift of farsight. Trickster was sitting there feeling pretty confident in his trick, and the birds went off to go find Eagle. And they flew away. Trickster was sitting there waiting until a small black dot appeared in the sky. The dot came down and it was Eagle. Hey, Trickster, what's this I hear that you can see farther than I? I was given the gift of farsight from the Creator. Yep, I can see farther than you. I can see farther than anyone. All right, show me this trick then. All right, I've been awesome all day. You probably don't know how to be awesome all day, but when you're awesome all day, it's kind of important to stretch it out, and really get full range of motion. You know what I mean? Come on, Trickster, I haven't got all day. Show me this trick already. I bet you can't even see far. Oh, let me show you my trick then, said Trickster. Patience is a virtue, I haven't got all day. Get going on with it. All right. His eyeballs popped out of his head, spun around, took off. Trickster started talking about all the many things he could see, the people of many different colors, the birds and animals he'd never seen before. He started talking about all the stars dancing, all in the out of universe, all the planets dancing around a great star. His eyeballs went way down deep into the ocean, so deep this time he said he could even see SpongeBob and his friend Patrick. That's how deep his eyeballs were. His eyeballs went flying out way far, far, far. He said he saw horses running with black and white stripes. And it was true. Eagle was looking and squinting. Trickster could see farther than him. And then Trickster sang that song again. Hey, Trickster, where are your eyeballs? I don't see them coming. Oh, they're so far away that they can't hear me anymore. We're all pretty far away from each other. We'd get a good chance if we all sang this song together for Trickster. You think you can help him sing this song? Maybe? You're all muted anyway, so as loud as you can, try and sing the song with me. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I know you didn't do it that time, but this time you will, because we're going to be brave. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Well, thank you for trying, but his eyeballs didn't come back, and he was standing there waiting for them to fly back to his head. And Eagle said, I told you, I was given the gift of farsight from the Creator. And Eagle went off, and Trickster started to look around. Where could his eyeballs be, he thought, and he found a little tiny pebble. He stuck it in his eye, but everything was too small and far away, so he had to balance it out. So he grabbed the great big boulder and he stuck it in the other eye. Now everything was big and little. It was like having 25 vision, bumping into this and bumping into that. And as he was moving around, he felt something, and it was Giant's leg. Hey, brother, what are you doing there? Can't you see with your... Trickster, where are your eyeballs? Oh, is that you? Oh, hello, brother. Oh, my relative. I'm just coming over here for a walk. Trickster, don't you listen, he said. He grabbed his magic drum and drumstick back, and in one step, Giant was gone. And it is still believed that Trickster is out there looking for his eyeballs, but that is another story. Thank you. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience and listening to my stories this afternoon. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that you wanted to share with me. I appreciate your time and your afternoon. Hi, ninaskaman, omatum.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for the stories and sharing them with us and taking your time to be out here with us. To the audience, thank you for being here. In the chat, I will put the Native American Heritage Month calendar of events, or the page to that. So please check it out. We've got other events that are taking place throughout the month. Violet's pre-recorded session, or this session, will be posted on that same link if you want to view it later on down, probably after tomorrow sometime. As soon as it becomes available and we're able to put it up there, we'll put it up there. So please feel free to go back to the website, check out this session and any of the sessions that will be on there as well. Thank you all for your time.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.